Hi everyone, welcome back to Kanga TV, home of North Melbourne fans, and welcome to the final word. It is Friday night. It's been a big day. It's been a really big day. LDU's re-signing. I put up a video earlier today. I've been on the road pretty much all day, and I've finally been able to come home and process it, talk to you guys about it, and then look ahead to the game tomorrow. I'm going to post this tonight. The game tomorrow against the Suns. I feel like the game just changes so much on the back of LDU's re-signing. 7 years. That's wild. I think you kind of knew that when. I don't even want to say if and when. I think hindsight's obviously a great thing, but I never really felt like he was going anywhere when the season started. So about 4 or 5 weeks ago, I just sort of thought, I can't see him going anywhere else. I just thought that he would maybe re-sign like halfway through the year, like closer to the bye. Um, but obviously he's seen enough in the first month and maybe even through the off season and preseason that he wants to stay and wants to be here for life. And I think that's amazing. And I think the buy-in, and I don't think this has been spoken about enough, but I think the buy-in from the collective speaks volumes about where we're going as a football club. Um, Jai Simpkins had a big contract extension started last year. Nikolaki, Harry Sheasel, like all these guys, Charlie Comben recommitted, like even the likes of a Taylor Goad earlier in the season, he extended his contract. Cam Zerha end of last year. Like the buy-in from the playing group is sensational. And we've never really been a club that's been able to attract top tier talent, but we've been able to retain for the most part the talent that we do have. And with the exception of Jason Horne-Francis and Ben Mackay leaving a couple seasons ago, haven't really been too many other players of real like high caliber players anyway that have wanted to leave. And I think that in itself speaks volumes about the club and where we're heading and where we're at, because we are flooded with top tier, top end draft picks and talent. You know, you've got at every line, you know, you've got Colby, you've got Zane, you've got George, you've got Harry, you've got Finn O'Sullivan who's just walked through the door this year as well. And then even the likes of a Hardiman or a Goad or, you know, you can go on and on and on. Like there's so much talent. LDU, obviously, you can add him to that list. The fact that everyone wants to re-sign, everyone wants to stay true to the football club, I think just speaks volumes about the culture that we've been able to build and sort of turn around, because I think for a while there it was probably really shaky. Um, and just the excitement about where we're going. And I really hope this gives us a big boost into gather round and into the game tomorrow against the Suns. I don't want it to be a distraction. I still want us to look at tomorrow's game, and on field needs to be spoken about in isolation. I don't want this to be an exemplary thing on last week's performance against Sydney. I don't want this to overshadow the result tomorrow, whatever way it goes. If anything, I just hope it puts a rocket up us and inspires us to go really, really hard and throw everything we have at the Suns and hopefully come back to Melbourne with a win ahead of Good Friday. I think that would just be absolutely ideal. Um, the Suns are one of the best midfield teams in the competition. Um, to start off this season, there's a lot of talk around them and how impressive they've started off the year. So if they could just give them a bit of a scare, and get on top of them early and really capitalize on our opportunities, especially early. I feel like it's something I spoke about in the review of the Swans game is we don't capitalize on the scoreboard. Our dominance on field doesn't translate into scoreboard pressure and dominance. And maybe that's where our downfall has been. And it's been something that's really hindered our confidence over the past couple of weeks, and maybe has led to games playing out the way they have against Adelaide and the Swans. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we go. One thing I will say about North Melbourne and Gather Round this year, I've been so impressed with the way the club has approached Gather Round, and the way they've approached this week. A lot of clubs have come out with really cool Gather Round Guernseys and fanfare and really making the most of Gather Round from a financial and marketing perspective. And I think for North, it would have maybe been a miss had we done that. And I think the clubs read the room really, really well. Yep, Gather Round is such a great um, tourism exercise to South Australia, and it's a lot of fun, and a lot of fans are over in Adelaide at the moment having a great time. I was going to go and then decided last minute to stay home. And I would have loved to have been there as a fan. I think a lot of fans would have loved to have been there. But for us to gather around and think, no, like we're actually in a position where we need to win games and we need to let our footy do the talking rather than gather around Guernseys and paraphernalia and memorabilia. It would have been a great opportunity for the club to capitalise, and it's a great marketing opportunity, sure, but I just love that we haven't. I think the LDU thing was awesome, and I think that really fired everyone up today, and I think it will absolutely give us a boost this weekend and hopefully in the weeks to come and trickle on throughout the whole season. But I'm just so impressed with the way the club has just kept, for the most part, the focus on field and letting our performances hopefully do the talking, and hopefully that translates into a win. You guys, I got so caught up in the news of LDU and all the excitement and gather around that I completely forgot to talk about our team heading into this game. Talk about integrity at the selection table. I do feel for Bailey Scott because I don't think he's been terrible to start the year, but I think this is a real big statement made by Clarko. The decision to drop Bailey Scott is maybe one we wouldn't have seen 12, even 18 months ago at North Melbourne. It is really nice to see us rewarding players on effort and output on field rather than just keeping them in the 23 because we think they should be there. Now, a lot of people will probably disagree with me in saying that Darcy Tucker's had a really, really good start to the year, but I think he's been awesome. I think his work in the back half of the ground and along the wing has been really, really good. I did mention him in my review from the Swans game. I thought that was one of his best games for the club, if not the best, and I think he really deserves his spot. I think Luke McDonald does as well, and I think we're so used to these guys being whipping boys, and every club has whipping boys, sure, but I think that was a big, bold move to make, and I really, really like it. I think it shows that no one's safe and that our system needs to be stronger than the individuals in the side. Robert Hansen Jr. and Matt Whitlock, the other two outs for this week. I feel for Matt Whitlock. I feel like he was maybe set up for failure, not in a bad way, but he came in as the fourth tall defender. It probably is a move we needed against the Crows. And then he was kind of forced to play this like floating defender. It just didn't really work. He showed enough and he did some nice things, and I'm sure we'll see him again before the end of the year. But it was just, disappointing, I think, to have him subbed off and then omitted for this game when he really didn't do anything specifically wrong. Hansen Jr.'s had a couple of quiet games, and I think Constanti has shown that he's been able to really lock down that small forward role for now, both defensively and offensively. In the last two games, he's contributed on the scoreboard, whereas Hansen Jr. has failed to do so. So some interesting outs there. The ins, it's really nice to welcome back Finn O'Sullivan, of course, from that illness that kept him out of the side last week. And then big game Zane Dersma and Zach Fisher are both into the side for the first time this season. Looking forward to seeing how both of these guys go. Zane Dersma feels like I know he spent a lot of time in the midfield in the off-season and pre-season and in the VFL the past few weeks, but it'll be interesting to see if we can get him through the midfield, but also maybe as that tall forward, that tall third forward, a bit of a hybrid role, maybe swapping with Cam Zurhaar. I'd like to get Cam Zurhaar in the middle of the game and involved as much as possible where we can. And then Zach Fisher, definitely well-deserved return to the side. He put up like a 40-touch game in the VFL a couple of weeks ago and then got concussed. So wasn't available for selection, but I'm interested to see how he goes. Maybe as the sub or maybe in defence alongside Caleb Daniel. I'd personally prefer Hardeman to play the whole game and then Fisher to be the sub. Maybe match fitness won't be there either. He hasn't played AFL yet this season. So interesting at the selection table. Really like it. Really like it. I think it's bold. And I think it's exactly what we need. It feels like this week maybe is a bit of a turning of the leaf, I hope, for North. I really hope that we can fire up after the loss against the Swans. We've got the signature of LDU. We're just focusing on the game rather than all of the other stuff with gather around, and we've made some big statements at the selection table. So, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I'm really looking forward to it. You let me know what you think about LDU's re-signing and the choices we've made for the team tomorrow and gather around and all that good stuff. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Let me know your thoughts over on social. I can't wait to debrief this one with you guys. Hopefully it's a massive win and we can really have some momentum heading into Good Friday. I'll see you all soon.